I think if we've been following along, this is absolutely not to be, you shouldn't be surprised here, basically. But let's go and see where this video takes us here, guys. Russia and China launching tense naval maneuvers after Trump sends nuclear submarines to face Putin. Yeah, let's do it, guys.
China kicked off chilling war games in the Sea of Japan in a show of force, just a day after Donald Trump's blistering nuclear warning. The US commander-in-chief ordered that 2 nuclear submarines be positioned near Russia before warning America is totally prepared for a nuclear war.
Well, you just have to read what he said. He was talking about nuclear. When
He
you
sure
talk
was.
about nuclear, we have to be prepared, and we're totally prepared.
The extraordinary escalation by Trump followed a slew of
aboard, Marine
inflammatory threats against America from Kremlin comrade Dmitry Medvedev. Just one day after, China and Russia began joint naval drills as they look to reinforce their partnership and counter what they see as a US-led global order. Dubbed Joint Sea 2025, the exercises, although pre-planned, began in waters near the Russian port of Vladivostok and would last for 3 days. Is this a true strategic alliance or a marriage of convenience?
It's just a marriage of convenience. I really truthfully don't think that they like each other like that. I think that they have just all come together specifically against us. Right? That's it. Truth be told, that's just what it is here. Russia is our adversary. China is our adversary. So they're just like, listen, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I think this is what we're encountering here.
We spoke to a former NATO commander to find out
The
what
second
the
time,
drills mean.
large scale.
We're certainly in a Cold War. Also,
They've done this.
a lot of people are saying we're in a pre-war phase, particularly in Europe with what's happening there. I think the bottom line is still that America has overriding military power. And without wanting to sound glib, those who know. I think the Chinese know that and the Russians know that. And if President Trump does want to flex his military muscles, then he's
It'll be
probably the
crazy.
only person on the planet who can make things happen. So I think it is so important that there are cool heads around, because mistakes, misunderstandings, and miscalculations can sometimes turn a Cold War into a hot war.
And obviously, anyone who's in Europe specifically knows that most of the times that the world kind of gets into any type of kerfuffle or there's some type of like strife, country to country, it tends to happen specifically in Europe, meaning that the battle will be, in fact, fought in Europe, guys.
And nobody wants that. So one is hoping that an awful lot is going on under the surface, politically and diplomatically, that is not being publicized to ensure that these miscalculations, misunderstandings and accidents do not happen and do not lead us into a hot
Something
war.
bigger.
The Russians are completely committed in Ukraine. I believe their army is culminating. In other words, it's running out of steam. When it comes to naval operations, of course, the Ukrainians have obliterated the Black Sea Fleet. Now, the Russian Navy has a number of other fleets, and we're seeing its Far Eastern fleet now out and about. But I think the quality of the Russian military has really waned in the last few years. I understand a lot of their ships are pretty ancient, pretty sort of last generation technology, although they are building new ones. But the focus of Russia's military has very much been on Ukraine. It's been about building up the army. It's about building drones and missiles. So I don't think they have a lot of money to build new ships. And what they've got have been proved. If the Black Sea Fleet is anything to go by, it looks a lot better than it actually is. Because with now Trump appearing to properly saber rattle, and it would appear that Putin still really has no interest in peace. But if he doesn't come to the negotiation table with Trump this week, it could get very spicy.
Oh yeah. It's gonna get spicy here. Now listen, do they have the actual money to start investing in brand new maritime type of machinery? No, they don't, guys. I mean, listen, under the sanctions that they're under, I'm not sure they're able to kind of get that. Now listen, if Europe was to actually stop purchasing oil specifically from Russia, maybe that could potentially at least happen. But the fact that everyone still is kind of going under the table, let's say, and purchasing some of their goods, that's an issue here. Keep in mind, they also decided that they were going to try to start up the BRICS currency with Brazil, Russia, India, China, along with South Africa, to kind of get away from the US dollar. So the sanction specifically that they are under would not be no longer relevant. That didn't work. So of course it was destined to fail here, guys. But I think they do seriously need to stop here. I'm not sure they're ever going to come to the table. I mean, Putin being Putin, he's gonna let his country fail, and completely go underwater 100%. For the sole purpose of proving that he is in fact the strongest man alive. Shirtless horse riding type of guy here. It's all bravado, but unfortunately, he doesn't really have what it requires, let's say, to back it up, or his stance, guys. Truth be told,
not expecting the Americans to attack the Russians in any way, but some of the sanctions and tariffs that are going to be imposed, and a lot of those are focused at China. And I go back to my point that the Chinese love of a growing economy is probably more than its love of Russia. And if America does put these secondary sanctions on China because of its dealings with Russia, we might see a slightly different attitude coming out of Beijing. We know that they are practicing anti-missile defense, and that is something that has become key out of the war in Ukraine. Submarines and ships firing cruise missiles and other missiles have had a significant impact. So no doubt they would anticipate any conflict, that this is going to be a capability that is really important. So we know that they are practicing that. We know also that they're doing a lot of submarine drills as well. And again, although submarines have not really been a part of the war in Ukraine, since the end of the Second World War, submarine warfare has been absolutely key. And the Russians and the Americans and ourselves, that is the key part of our strategic nuclear deterrence. So there no doubt is something there. Now, China, when we're on the nuclear issue, China is the country that is making the most nuclear warheads at the moment, and growing faster than anybody else. So no doubt the Chinese will want to learn off the Russians, and they're always pretty crows in these sort of things. When it comes on to offensive naval operations, amphibious operations, it is unclear quite what they are doing there. But no doubt the Chinese have half an eye to Taiwan, and we know that if they do attack Taiwan, they will have to do considerable amphibious operations, which is why last week, not by coincidence, the Americans announced a new missile that they were developing that could actually destroy ships like the ones that we're seeing out in the South China Seas and Pacific at the moment, in great numbers, and that would be
that was big news.
To be stopped by Chinese and Russian air defense.
Yeah, it definitely feels like I think it's going to be something like ballistic oriented. I guess just meaning that it's going to be launched from some type of terrestrial place. They can go up into outer space and then utilize the force of the missile shooting down to basically, take down its target. Yeah, you're not going to stop that, bro. It is what it is here in this context here. It'll stay in space till it hits its target, until it finds its target from space. Yeah, that's done. All right, but listen, here's the thing. I do think that there definitely is. There's going to have to be some type of resolution. I do not think we're going to go and we're going to enter into WW3 due to this here. It would be great if Putin kind of came around here and said, you know what, hey, listen, we're going to go ahead and stop. But I don't think that that's going to happen here. I truthfully don't see him moving towards any type of peace, any type of peace talk, any type of actual deal, because it's just. How about this here? He may. He may. It's not going to mean anything because, I mean, we've been here before with ceasefire type of conversations. They just tend to be moderately irrelevant, guys, end of the day. But all right, listen, guys, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Let me know in the comments what I should be checking out next. And if you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. In the meantime, I will catch you guys later.